Good. Good afternoon. Can everyone give us a thumbs up if you can hear us? Hari, could you say hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Good afternoon. Uh, like was said, my name is Neil McLean, Sales North America. Super proud for this conference, especially the representation that we have at Transformation World with customers like Adobe, Northrop Grumman, PepsiCo, Pfizer, and now we're going to talk with TE Connectivity. This is unheard of for us and the North American business, and it's only going to continue to grow each and every year. Super exciting. But if you could, Hari, introduce yourself. We'll talk about the TE project that's currently ongoing, and let's get into it.
Sure. Thanks, Neil. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hari Balan. I work for TE Connectivity as a strategy leader within our S4 program. I've been TE for almost 17 years now through multiple roles, managing order-to-cash teams, pricing teams, implementing supply chain solutions, and now currently leading the data and the technology tower within our S4 program. So here is the agenda that we have for today. I'll start with a brief introduction of TE Connectivity, then moving on to explain a little bit more about our approach and why did we pick this particular approach for our S4 transition. Then we'll take a look at the project plan, the scope, the structure, the timeline, before diving deep into some of the technical aspects of the program. And then we'll finally wrap up with a slide where I'll share with you some of the prep activities, risk mitigation tasks that we executed as we were getting ready for this program. So TE, we are a global technology company, and we specialized in the manufacturing and design of for connector and sensor components. We support a wide array of industries, the healthcare industry, the automobile, energy, home appliances. And while most of you may never have ordered a product directly from us, I can guarantee you that we are present in your day-to-day life in one form or another. When you try to make a call with your smart device, when you're using a home appliance, or when you're using the entertainment system in your car, you are using a tool or a device that has a TE component or a sensor. So that's what we do. We connect the world with a vision of creating a safer, sustainable, productive, and connected future. TE is a $15.8 billion company with revenue being generated uniformly from across all the regions of the globe, probably with EMEA or the European region contributing a tad higher than the rest of the global regions. We are a truly global company with close to 100 manufacturing sites, 80,000 employees spread across 130 countries, manufacturing 235 billion products a year. We are also heavily invested in research and innovation, as you can see from the number of patents that we either hold currently or they are in process waiting to be approved. Now, moving on to TE's S4 program. Like most of you here, when we made this decision to transition to S4, one of the first and critical questions we had to answer was around the approach we'll take in this S4 transition. Do we go brownfield or greenfield, or do we take a middle path with bluefield? Do we implement in a single phase or take a wave approach? And after several months of discussions and deliberations internally with our peers, with our partners, we finally landed on adopting a wave-based bluefield approach for our program. Now, let me give you a brief overview of TE's current ERP environment. So almost 95 to 98% of TE's business is hosted on a single ERP platform. We also have a smaller S4 greenfield system. So a couple of years back, we ran a pilot program where some of our acquisitions were implemented on a S4 greenfield platform. So what the lessons learned and the experiences from that pilot program probably was the biggest factor which led us to adopt a bluefield approach this time around. What we realized was that the system we are on right now, it's been around for almost 15 to 20 years. We have implemented a lot of customizations and innovations in this ECC system that has helped to support our global business on a unified platform in the last 10 to 15 years. It has also helped TE to differentiate ourselves in the market space. So moving on to the new platform, even though now there is definitely an opportunity to simplify and reduce our technical debt, we realized that we still need 80 to 85% of these customizations is critical to TE's business. Our leadership also placed a challenge in front of us. They wanted us to make sure that our project duration, considering the phases where our business community is involved, should not extend for more than 3 years. So both these requirements essentially took the green field out of the picture. Another critical factor in consideration was the risk associated with moving our global business in a single phase into a new platform. Our business community was not willing to take that risk. So with all this considered, we then decided to adopt, we reached the conclusion that for TE's business case, the optimum path is a wave-based Bluefield approach. Now, once we make this decision, the next question, of course, is how do we get there? Who do we partner with? What tool do we use? And again, to help us take this decision, we set ourselves some guidelines. Probably the most important one was because we are going live in waves, 5 waves. We wanted to make sure each of our wave does not cause more than a 48-hour disruption for our business. So we need a tool that is fast. We also need a tool that is flexible and customizable, because with all the process variations that we have across our business units and regions, all on a single system, we quickly came to the realization that the logic to move the data is getting really complex and requires a good amount of customization. So we needed a tool that could support our requirements and help us move only the data that we need. Another factor was the validation capabilities of the tool. With a 48-hour window, we wanted to make sure whatever tool we use, it has some level of validation and reporting capabilities that will help us to make informed decisions within that 48-hour window when we are ready to go live. So again, we spent several months, evaluated multiple options, talked to our peers, and finally decided or landed on choosing S&P as our partner in this very important journey. S&P has the track record in the market in such big transformation, especially when you are going in waves. They definitely have a great tool, and I believe most importantly what we thought was they have the talent, the functional expertise that can guide us through this journey. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Neil to talk a little bit about S&P and their capabilities in this area.
Perfect. Thank you, Hari. And to Hari's point, risk reduction was key. So really leaning on S&P's experience, right? We are the dominant player in the SDT migration arena. This is our bread and butter, and we really have a collaborative partnership, a true trust in each other, and that really is the key for S&P and TE Connectivity to have a successful project. So we're at an S&P conference, I don't need to give you a whole long explanation for who we are, but really at the beginning in conversations with Hari and his team, it was relying on our experience, the credibility of our customer references, and building that trust with the team to make sure that this is a priority for us, and we know how high visibility this project is for TE Connectivity. So thank you, Hari, to you and your team for your trust.
Sure, with that, I'll move back to TE's S4 transition program. With us being on almost a single platform, which has been around for 15 to 20 years, we have a massive amount of data and processes that need to be now transferred to the new system. So one of our challenges was to make sure we are structuring our team in a way that each of these areas get the attention and the undivided focus that it needs. So we ended up dividing our team, and as you can see from the screen here, when I talk about massive data and massive processes, around 200 plus company codes, 50,000 custom code objects, close to 2,000 EDA trading partners, hundreds of data feeds, 35,000 bad jobs, and we needed to have a team structure where there are teams with non-overlapping responsibilities focused on each of these areas. We divided our team into 4 pillars, or as we call it, the level 1 streams in our program. The selective data transfer team, they work very closely with our S&P counterparts. They are responsible for anything related to data. So they identify the data objects, they define the rules, the requirements, the blueprints, and also make sure that we are validating the data as well as running process scripts in our different functional areas and making sure that the data that is transferred over can be consumed by business processes. With close to 2,000 EDA trading partners and 160 bolt-ons, it just made sense that we have a team solely focused on the EDI and the bolt-ons. And this team, they've been working to identify the interfaces, making sure we are setting up the technical connections that these bolt-ons can talk to two different SAP systems and can safely transition to the new platform. The technical upgrade team, they are more focused on the foundational task of upgrading the system, for implementing the simplification solutions, and also working with our code remediation partner, SmartShift, to make sure that our 50,000 custom objects are made S4 compatible and ready for the new platform. And finally, we have the long-term analytics or the LTA team. They deal with all these 100+ data feeds, the BW extractors, all the data that gets pumped out of all our ERP systems into the various reporting platforms, analytical platforms used in TE currently in our current environment. A quick look at our timeline. I did mention that our goal was to make sure our entire project duration, the ones where our business community is involved, is kept to 3 years. So we will be conducting 4 rounds of testing in this program. We start with a round of unit test, which will be completely done by the IT team. Then we move on to the integration test cycle. That is the first time when our business community will be involved in this program. This is then followed by a user acceptance test, and finally a dress rehearsal before we go live. Now, each of these cycles, this will follow the exact wave pattern and the sequence of events that will happen during our go live. So we start with an empty system. We load our first wave of data. We conduct process tests, make sure we are generating new documents, purchasing documents, sales transactions, before we start layering on data for the subsequent waves. And then we go on till we complete our 4 waves, or now I think 5 waves of transition. We can also see that in parallel to our S4 program, we also have been running several projects in parallel. Some of the foundational tasks like getting GTS ready, MDG ready, modernizing our pricing environment, all these are going on in parallel, and we are making sure that these are done and production ready before we start transacting in S4. And of course, we have, I forgot to do the click, we have S&P integrated with our team during all these cycles. They've been with us right from the pre-project phase till now. We are currently in the second wave of our integration test cycle. Now, diving a little bit more details into the details of the technical aspects of the program. Some of you may already be aware of this, but a blue field approach always starts with the creation of a shell system. A shell is an empty copy of your production environment with all your code and configuration, but without any data. The shell is then, or the ECC shell is then upgraded to an S4 shell, and then code remediated to create what we call as golden shell. And this is used as a template to create every subsequent system within the new environment. In T's case, we have 2 SAP systems right now. We have the ECC environment, which is supporting the majority of our business, and we have the smaller S4 platform as well, the greenfield S4 system. And needless to say, we used our ECC system as the template to create our golden shell and all other subsequent systems. And our plan is at the end of our 4 waves, we will then merge the entities on our greenfield system into the unified platform using a kind of a hybrid approach, because this will also involve some business transformation and data transformation, because we are merging the greenfield entities into the blue field or our existing ECC templates. Okay. And that brings me to my final slide, where I like to share with you some of the prep activities, risk mitigation activities that we executed as we were getting ready for this program. The most important, critical, was of course getting ready for data migration. So even months before we started moving the first round of data, our internal selective data transfer team, they've been working with S&P to identify the different data objects, defining the requirements, the blueprints, and the filtering and the slicing criteria that will then be used by S&P to transfer the data to the new environment. Now, we did not do this alone. We had good help from S&P. Their tool is able to scan through our database, identify the active data objects, and I guess more importantly, define the relationship between the different data tables, the custom and the standard tables, sometimes which we did not even realize that such relationships exist. So having that report tremendously helped our team. It simplified the process of defining the requirements and the rules that will be used to actually migrate the data. We also conducted a full end-to-end dry run of our system build process. Now, we are creating the new platform for TE, where almost 100% of TE's business will be supported by this unified system for the next 10 to 15 years. So we wanted to make sure that we're getting this absolutely right. So when we did this dry run, we not only did the upgrade, but also we simulated the code remediation. As I mentioned before, we are partnering with SmartShift to automate the remediation of 50,000 code objects. And while the automation engine helps us to greatly accelerate the timeline, we wanted to make sure that we are selecting the right rule set, and also we are testing and validating these, not all the 50,000, but sample programs from that list, making sure they have been remediated and transitioned that can be compatible to the new S4 environment. With 35,000 active bad jobs, now that was another area of concern for us. It was a massive amount of jobs that need to be transitioned in phases. So our team, a team which is exclusively focused on bad jobs, they started almost 6 months early, creating an inventory of our bad jobs, and more importantly, tagging each of these bad jobs, going through each item, painstakingly going through each of these items, tagging them to a wave or a company code. And sometimes when there are global jobs, they also ended up splitting that into wave-based jobs that can be transitioned in phases. Now, the wave-based approach that we are taking in this program, the primary reason was to make sure that we reduce the business risk and business impact. While it does help us to reduce the business risk, it introduced several technical challenges on its own. And the primary reason is that we have a period of time, a transition period, when TE's business will be supported across 2 platforms. So we have processes like intercompany transactions or return processes, where in the current environment, we have 2 internal TE partners, both on the same system, transacting with each other and talking to each other. But during the wave phases, there will be a period of time when some of these entities will still be in our ECC environment, while the others may have already migrated to the new S4 platform. Similarly, when you talk about bolt-ons, all our 162 plus bolt-ons and some of the local apps, they today talk to a single SAP system. But during the transition phase, during the wave migrations, there will be a period of time when these bolt-ons or connected systems need to now talk to 2 different SAP systems. This means we need intelligence built in either the middleware layer or the bolt-on itself that can help them to route traffic to the right SAP system, depending upon the wave or the company code, and also make sure if they are receiving data from 2 systems, they can merge it and convert it into a format that can be consumed by the processes supported by these connected systems. With the wave approach, another area of challenge was global master data objects. So there are things like global price agreements, material master generic views, or customer master views. These are master data which is global in nature and cannot be split by company code or by waves. So during the transition phase, all this global data needs to exist simultaneously in 2 systems, and more importantly, they need to be kept in sync between the 2 systems. So we need processes to dual maintain the master data between the 2 systems. A lot of our time during the pre-project phase, it was spent in identifying these integration points and making sure that we have interim solutions that have been developed and ready to make sure that these processes during the transition period, when we are in a multi-system environment, they can continue uninterrupted without causing a disruption to our business. Now, these are some of the high-level activities or tasks that we executed as we are getting ready for the program. And at least we feel that getting these done well ahead of the schedule, well ahead of the actual project started, it helped us not only accelerate and keep to our schedule, but also has helped us to identify some of the high-risk items, like overlapping number ranges, like interim solutions, all those risks that come along with a wave approach, and make sure that we are addressing them, we have solutions in place, and we are not caught by unpleasant surprises as we are going through the wave transition. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. And before I conclude, I want to thank every one of you for being here, listening to us, and also wish you all the best for your own S4 transition journeys.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Harry. And again, we covered a lot in a short period of time. If anyone has questions for Hari, we'll be hanging in the back. But thank you for your trust. Thank you for presenting today. And truly, S&P and TE Connectivity are stronger together. So thank you again.
I'll also mention we are really glad that we partnered with S&P and SmartShift. I think two of the best decisions that we have made so far, and the dividends are already paying off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hari.